Hello
guys, hello.
Hey.
So guys, we need to discuss our philosophy presentation.
Okay.
So put down your things. As we already decided before, our topic is the accomplishment of decolonization between China and Malaysia, and the extent to which it affects the citizen mindset and behavior, right? Any objection?
No.
Okay, so do you guys have opinions or suggestions about this topic? Please feel free to share about it.
Yes, I have.
Well, actually, I've been researching in this topic, and China's economic transformation post-decolonization is remarkable, evolving from an agrarian society to a global powerhouse. This achievement is attributed to economic liberalization, infrastructure development, and an emphasis on education and innovation. Its transition to a market economy attracted foreign investment and diversified the economy away from agriculture to manufacturing and services. China's economic freedom score improved from 58.2 to 61.7, reflecting advances in business and financial freedoms. Consistent high growth since the late 1970s, increased in living standards and reduced poverty from 88% to 0.3%. China's poverty reduction approach blends direct interventions with job creation and economic growth promotion. Also, 5-year plans provide economic and social guidance. However, poverty reduction and income inequality remain issues. Politically, the People's Republic of China establishment in 1949 marked a significant change. The transition to a market economy facilitated rapid growth, decentralized decision-making, and increased global engagement, like One Belt and One Road initiative. Despite progress, issues like human rights concerns and other disputes present challenges. However, China has shown openness to dialogue to resolve such matters. In summary, China's post-decolonization success involved transformation, rapid economic growth, and rising global influence alongside challenges. Okay guys, what are your thoughts on this approach?
Yeah, so I think it is a really good political change and also economic growth. Similarly, Malaysia also have went through huge transformation since independence in 1957. The British played a really important role in rebuilding Malaysia's economy after World War II, which the Malayan Union initially rejected the British attempts to establish sole government to replace the federated Malay states, but later on they compromise it to a more important constitutional phrase, which the special position of the Malays and the legitimate interests of other communities. Then, since the formation in 1963, Malaysia demonstrated really great economic performance from which is their annual 8% GNP growth since year 2000. In post-independence per capita GDP increase of 7.5 times from its 2014 level. Malaysia also diversified its economy from a reliance on commodities and agriculture to a more robust and dynamic manufacturing and service sector. So despite other criticisms that they have, Malaysia's action actually stabilized the situation and their net growth. But poverty still remains challenged, although the new economic policy reduced 52.4% to 3.6% of the poverty level in 2009. Largely it's because of foreign investment, but as study indicate, GDP is not exactly the sufficient eradication of poverty. Then Malaysia's 5-year economic development plans, like the 12th Malaysian Plan, aims to reset the economy after COVID-19, and it enhances citizen well-being and advanced sustainability. And one of the Malaysia's strong point is their appreciation towards various culture, ethnics, and religious natures of Asian societies. That's why policies implemented in the past 50 years are to strengthen their relationship with neighboring countries.
Yes, and when decolonization comes to society and culture, there are also many interesting points. I have read about an article in which it is crucial to recognize that the cultural concerns in cross-cultural context is colonial concerns, Without decolonization in the realm of sport and culture, its negative effects can persist and manifest in forms of neocolonialism, hindering exchange, dialogue, and interaction between cultures. It is through understanding the impact of decolonization on Chinese culture that we can appreciate the significance of this transformative period in Chinese history. And as I know, decolonization brings a great influence into Malaysia's culture, right?
Yes. Of course, decolonization has promoted cultural revival and reconstruction, has had a far-reaching impact on society and citizens. During colonial rule, Malaysia's culture was suppressed and weakened. Colonists hold an attitude of disgust and discrimination against local culture and try to replace Malaysian traditional culture with their own cultural values and customs. Western dance such as social dance were brought to Malaysia by European countries such as Britain and were widely accepted and influenced. During colonial rule, these dance forms were introduced into Malaysian society through dance and social activities. This led to the change of traditional dance forms, which meant traditional culture was replaced. After decolonization, Malaysia began to experience a cultural renaissance. Our country began to rediscover and rebuild its cultural roots, attaching importance to traditional art, music, dance, and literature. Not only the government, people and schools actively support the protection and promotion of Malaysia's rich and diverse cultural heritage and promote the vigorous development of cultural scenes. In order to pass on the traditional culture to the next generation and carry it forward, many people even hold some performance and competitions to improve the popularity of this traditional culture. Since all of us just focus on the nation part, why not let us discuss about the citizens part?
So about the education part, first an important task of decolonization in China is to promote the localization of education. In the process of decolonization, China's education system needs to align with its own values and ideology. Second, decolonization has led to a more open and diversified education system and ideology in China. In the process of decolonization, Chinese education began to examine its own shortcomings and limitations and started to observe and explore excellent and education methods and ideals. Finally, decolonization in China encompasses both tradition and innovation. Chinese education during the decolonization process combines the preservation of tradition and with innovation and reform. And regarding the religion aspect, decolonization promotes religious freedom in China. It fosters tolerance, respect, and peaceful coexistence in diverse societies. Decolonization also promoted China to re-examine the relationship between religion and culture. This process enhanced people's sense of identity and belonging to their own culture. And finally, religions are also constantly adapting to the development of modern society and integrating with society.
Alright, for Malaysia, I think one important point of the cultural transformation of education emphasizes a shift from a Eurocentric curriculum to one that includes a value local knowledge, tradition, and language, including an appearance of Malay vernacular schools. Additionally, I think decolonization also aims to restore and promote Malaysia's cultural identity, challenging the dominance of Western ideology in education. I think this shows that decolonization effort in education should prioritize the preservation of indigenous cultures and language. So do you guys get it?
Yeah.
Then what I want to add is decolonization has also encouraged a shift toward recognizing and valuing local context and knowledge in education. With decolonization, there has been a growing recognition of the value of local knowledge, traditions, and cultural practices. Lastly, what I think I found interesting is that decolonizing the histories curriculum in Malaysia and Singapore is a unique study in the history of education because it examines decolonization in terms of the history curriculum. So I will do more research about this to further analyze it. Then for the other aspect is a religion perspective. I found that decolonization in Malaysia has led to a greater emphasis of religious freedom and tolerance, which has shaped a philosophical perspective that values religious diversity and promotes inclusivity. It can encourage citizens to respect and appreciate different religious beliefs and practices, fostering a spirit of religious harmony and consistency. Thus, decolonization can reduce religious intolerance and the discrimination and persecution faced by religious minorities, which emphasize religious pluralism and interfaith dialogue. This mindset provides dialogue, respect, and cooperation between religious groups. Therefore, decolonization has allowed Malaysians to embrace and celebrate their cultural identity and religious practice. There is also growing awareness and appreciation of the religious rituals, festivals, and traditions associated with different faiths. Yeah, this is what I want to realize. Lastly, I think the most important part need to include is every citizen in Malaysia should accept different religious cultures with open-mindedness and ensure that everyone can live peacefully and build a peaceful nation. That's all for me. Can be heard from China's perspective.
And for Chinese citizens, the meaning of decolonization in society and culture revolves around the reclaiming national identity, asserting sovereignty, and the challenging foreign influences. Decolonization is seen as a process of reclaiming and asserting Chinese national identity. It involves rediscovering and valuing traditional Chinese culture, history, and values that were
marginalized
during periods of foreign influence. Chinese citizens view decolonization as a way to reconnect with their cultural heritage, language, and customs. This process fosters our sense of pride in Chinese identity and serves a unifying force for the nation. In the cultural sphere, decolonization emphasizes the rejection of foreign cultural domination and the promotion of indigenous Chinese traditions. It involves reviving and preserving traditional arts, literature, music, and
philosophical
systems that was suppressed or overshadowed during periods of foreign influence. Chinese citizens strive to restore and promote their own cultural expressions, safeguarding them from being diluted or overshadowed by global cultural trends. What about the thoughts about Malaysian citizens?
Alright, I think as a citizen of Malaysia, I truly experienced the accomplishment of decolonization. Decolonization profoundly impacted Malaysia and its multiracial citizens. It marked Malaysia's transition from British colonial rule to an independent nation, empowering its people to govern themselves. The introduction of different races has formed a multicultural and multiracial environment, bringing different religious customs, beliefs, and lifestyles. Although it was used to create conflicts between people, it is undeniable that the action of the British Empire eventually left a beautiful and colorful legacy for future Malaysians. Malaysia is not a melting pot society, in the sense that the boundaries between the different cultures do not melt and integrate with one another. Instead, different races take pride in their own cultural inheritance and maintain a strong identity. Despite these differences, Malaysia achieved a remarkable unity which can be attributed to the shared struggle for independence and a strong sense of belonging to the nation. Malaysians stood together, overcoming the disparities in language, mindset, practice, and values to maintain peaceful relations. This achievement showcases Malaysia's successful path toward peaceful and united multiracialism.
Okay, very nice, guys. Let's see what we have now. Achievements of China and Malaysia in economy, politics, society, and culture, right? So for the conclusion part, I suggest that we could write something just like that, like decolonization has left a lasting impact on China and Malaysia, touching every aspect of their societies, from economics and politics to education, society, culture, and religion. The effects have been profound. These countries have witnessed significant changes and have navigated their path toward progress and development. As we move forward, it is important to acknowledge that and learn from their philosophies of decolonization, striving for a better future that embraces equality and sustainability. Okay, all good. Let's continue to finish our marshmallows.